The Invincible War is one of the most chaotic and devastating battles in the Invincible comics, where dozens of alternate versions of Mark Grayson, each with different experiences, power levels, and moralities, are unleashed upon Earth. But how did this all happen? And who was behind it? Let's dive straight into the story. The return of Angstrom Levy. The story begins months ago, after Invincible had made one of the most difficult choices of his life. He had always struggled with the idea of killing, believing himself to be a hero who saves lives rather than takes them. But when he faced Angstrom Levy, a man who had been causing unimaginable destruction across dimensions, Mark made a brutal decision. In an apocalyptic wasteland, Mark beat Angstrom Levy to death. Or at least, that's what he thought. As Mark walked away from Angstrom's seemingly lifeless body, something unexpected happened. Levy, barely clinging to life, managed to open a last portal, a desperate escape. He crawled through, vanishing into the unknown. On the other side, Levy found himself in the hands of the Technicians, a group of advanced alien doctors capable of treating injuries beyond human medical knowledge. These beings examined him, pulling his broken, disfigured body out of the portal. Levy's face was completely crushed, his skull nearly unrecognizable from Mark's brutal assault. Yet, despite his condition, he was still alive. He tried to mumble something, but his injuries made it impossible to speak. Day 1 of the Invincible War. Months later, the real nightmare began. Across the entire planet, multiple versions of Invincible appeared, each one a different variation of Mark Grayson from alternate universes. These evil Invincibles were not here to help, they were here to destroy. Angstrom Levy, now watching from his secret hideout, observed everything through a screen. His face was barely healed, yet his hatred for Mark Grayson had only grown stronger. With a twisted expression, he ordered, "Attack! Go! Spread out across the globe. Destroy everything in your path. Make them see Invincible. Make them fear Invincible. Make them hate Invincible. Fulfill your side of the bargain, and everything you wish for will be yours." Levy's mental state was questionable. Was he truly in control, or was his rage consuming him? The Technician stood in the background, silent, watching as the destruction began. Mark and Adam Eve's moment of peace interrupted. Meanwhile, Mark Grayson, the real Invincible, was spending time with Adam Eve, Samantha Eve Wilkins. The two were lying in bed, enjoying a rare moment of peace. But Mark's mind was elsewhere. He turned to Eve and asked, "What's the deal anyway? Why can't I meet them?" Eve, confused, asked who. "Your parents," Mark clarified. "You think I wouldn't notice? You only ever invite me over when they're gone." Eve sighed, reluctant to answer. "I'm sorry, Mark. If you really want to meet them, I'll let you. It's just my parents are horrible. You wouldn't understand." Mark raised an eyebrow. "Hello? This is me you're talking to. I wouldn't understand." Eve hesitated. "I didn't mean it like that, I just—" Suddenly, Mark's phone rang. It was his first emergency call in a while. Something was happening at Stronghold Penitentiary. Eve sat up. "Do you need me to come with you?" Mark shook his head. "Nah, I'll call the base, see what's up. I'm sure it's nothing serious." But it was serious. Chaos at the Stronghold Penitentiary. Across the world, villainous versions of Mark Grayson were attacking in different locations. At Stronghold Penitentiary, one of them, Mohawk Mark, was tearing through the prison, slaughtering guards and inmates alike. He laughed as he crushed opponents. "This is what passes for a prison on this world. You're all so weak." Meanwhile, in London, another Mark, Mark 10, hurled a British superhero across the sky. "Pathetic. I wouldn't even keep you as a slave in my empire." Behind him, Big Ben was burning. In Moscow, a battle-hardened Mark stood atop a pile of wreckage. "After a year in Viltrumite prison, I could use a warm-up. But this is nothing compared to what I'm going to do when I find my father." This confirmed a chilling fact. In his universe, Omni-Man was still alive. Even in space, an alternate version of Mark, Omni-Mark, was battling Spawn and other heroes. Omni-Man raged, "I have killed you before. I will do it again." Meanwhile, Tech Jacket faced off against long-haired Mark, who looked at him in confusion. Unlike the animated series, this version of Mark had never met Tech Jacket before. Invincible joins the fight. Finally, Mark, the real Invincible, arrived on the battlefield. He wasted no time, punching Mohawk Mark across the face. "Stop this!" Mark yelled. "We're too evenly matched. This could go on forever. Just tell me, who brought you here? How did you get into this dimension?" Mohawk Mark wiped the blood from his nose, snarling, "You will get no answers from me. I will never yield to you. You sicken me, lesser version of myself." He lunged at Mark, determined to kill him. But Mark remembered something. He recalled a trick Cecil had used against him before, something that had messed with his equilibrium, making it impossible to fight properly. As Mohawk Mark charged, Mark clapped his hands against both of his opponent's ears, hard. Mohawk Mark screamed in agony, his balance completely thrown off. He collapsed to the ground, barely conscious. That's when Mark noticed something watching him. Hovering in the distance was a strange floating spy drone. Mark narrowed his eyes. What the hell is that? Before he could investigate, Bolt, Kid Thor, and Knockout arrived, mistaking Mark for one of the enemy Invincibles. There's another one, get him. Bolt shouted. Earth is under siege. As the battle raged on, news reports flooded in. Reports are coming in from across the globe. Multiple superhumans, all resembling Invincible, have been wreaking havoc in major cities. At first, they were thought to be the real Invincible, but sightings have confirmed at least 20 different individuals. Their motives remain unclear, but the destruction is escalating rapidly. The Invincible War had truly begun. We will continue broadcasting as long as we can, although we don't know how long our location will remain secure. The transmission crackles to life, beamed across a world teetering on the edge of annihilation. In a quiet room, Debbie, Amber, her new boyfriend, and William huddled together, their eyes locked on the flickering screen, faces drained of color, horror etched deep as they witnessed the chaos unfurling beyond their fragile sanctuary. The world outside is a maelstrom of violence and despair. Far from their gaze, an evil Invincible variant squares off against Adam Eve, his eyes blazing with cruel intent. He smirks and declares, "This time, I'm killing you. Slowly. I'm going to enjoy myself." The air thickens with menace as he raises his fist, but before he can deliver the killing blow, Oliver rockets into the scene, slamming into the villain with unrestrained fury, shouting, "You suck. I don't care how strong you are. I'm taking you out." The Phantom Mark, unfazed by the assault, his grin widening as he taunts, "Keep telling yourself that, boy. Maybe one day, you'll actually believe it." Before adding with a sneer, "You're going to have to earn the symbol on your chest." His words hang like a challenge in the smoke-choked air. Meanwhile, across the battlefield, Kid Thor and Knockout exchange a wary glance, their suspicion giving way to clarity as they study the bloodied figure before them. Kid Thor mutters, his eyes widening, "This is him. This is the real Invincible." The true Invincible struggles to his feet, chest heaving as he catches his breath, and says with grim determination, "Call in whoever you can. This is huge, too big for just us. I'm going to try and take as many of them out as I can, but if I can't, be ready to back me up." Bolt, quick to act, patches a desperate call through to the Global Defense Agency, his fingers trembling over the controls. Deep beneath the Pentagon, the GDA headquarters lies in shattered disarray, a tomb of twisted metal and broken dreams. Britt and Donald stand over the lifeless form of the Flexion Mark, blood dripping from their bruised and swollen knuckles, the weight of their victory heavy on their shoulders. Britt wipes his face, smearing sweat and grime, and says, "I hope we never have to do that again." Donald, his gaze fixed on a fractured screen flickering with news reports, shakes his head and replies, "Have you been watching this? It's a damn nightmare." Cecil, barely upright, his nose bleeding profusely and one arm dangling uselessly, groans as he issues orders through gritted teeth. "Britt, grab a cordon and secure the Pentagon. We need a base to stage a counterattack. This place is as good as any." Donald straightens, sensing the next command, and Cecil continues, "Donald, start making calls." His fists clench as he adds, "We need every ounce of help we can get on this one." Donald nods sharply and asks, "Right away, sir. Who do you want me to call?" Cecil's response is immediate and resolute, "Everyone." High above the ravaged earth, Mark and Adam Eve soar through the sky at breakneck speed, their hands clasped tightly in a desperate bid for unity amidst the storm. Mark says, tightening his grip, "They're just up ahead. Won't be long now. Sorry if I'm pulling too fast." Adam Eve replies, her voice steady despite the strain, "It's okay. We have to be as fast as possible." Then searches his face and asks, "Are you okay?" Mark's expression darkens, shadows pooling in his eyes as he admits, "No, I'm not. They're all me. I know I'm not doing this, but I can't help but feel responsible. I looked one of them in the eyes, and I saw myself." He pauses, his voice faltering, then continues, "Beyond that, there's only one man who has the power to pull people from other dimensions and hates me enough to do this. But that's impossible, right?" His mind flashes back to Angstrom Levy, the man he killed, a ghost whose shadow looms larger than ever. In another corner of the war-torn landscape, an evil Invincible confronts Cyberforce, his smirk sharp as a blade as he lists their names with mocking precision. Cyblade, Ripclaw, Heatwave, Velocity, Ballistic. His expression twists with dark amusement as he continues, "It's funny seeing you all work together again. Cyberforce, was it? Doesn't matter. I know everything about you, and you can't hope to win this fight. This is your final battle. Enjoy it while it lasts." A Cyberforce member grits their teeth and snaps, "Guys, can we please just shut him up?" Before they can strike, Pitt smashes one of the evil Mark's heads into the ground, blood exploding in a crimson spray. At the same instant, Shadowhawk and Madman bring down Omnimark with a bizarre twist, a yo-yo slicing through the air. As Omnimark crumples, dying, he whispers, "You think this will work? You think you can stop me?" He coughs blood and rasps, "I murdered my father. A Viltrumite. Do you really think you can survive this?" Adam Eve staggers and collapses, her legs snapping beneath her with a sickening crunch, blood pooling as she gasps in agony, her body trembling in the dirt. Mark's heart thunders in his chest as he rushes to her side, his voice breaking as he says, "Oh, God, just hang on, Eve. We'll be at the hospital in no time." Elsewhere, a lensless Mark Grayson tears through the Guardians of the Globe with ruthless ease, lifting Immortal's severed head and scoffing. "They call you clowns the Guardians of the Globe? You're an embarrassment. I can't believe I killed you all so easily." He tosses the decapitated head aside with contempt. Darkwing emerges from the shadows behind him, and before the evil Mark can react, pulls him into the shadow world, both vanishing into the void. A sinister Mark breaches the walls of Nolan and Debbie's home, his grin widening as he says, "She's not here? I was looking forward to killing her myself this time." Oliver lunges at him with reckless courage, only to be swatted aside like an insect, crashing into the wall with a bone-jarring thud. The evil Mark sneers, "You're obviously some kind of lesser Viltrumite. Just look at you. How could you possibly hope to defeat me?" Meanwhile, Phantom Mask tightens his grip around Savage Dragon's throat, choking the life from him as Shapesmith gasps, "Where's Darkwing? Did he get him?" Black Samson surveys the battlefield, his voice low as he whispers, "He's not here. That madman, he must have trapped himself in the shadows to kill that monster." A heavy silence falls, broken only by his solemn addition, "Darkwing sacrificed himself to save us." The broadcast endures, a fragile thread weaving through the relentless war as heroes and their twisted counterparts clash, the fate of all hanging precariously in the balance. The story surges into a heart-wrenching moment, a scene etched deep in the comic's legacy, unfolding amidst the chaos of a world torn apart. Rex Splode, battered but resolute, stands firm as danger closes in, his voice cutting through the clamor as he declares, "No, get them out of here before he kills all of us." His gaze hardens with resolve, and he adds, "Leave him to me. It's the only way to go." Nearby, Robot refuses to retreat, his mechanical determination unyielding, but Bulletproof seizes him, lifting off into the sky despite Robot's protest. "No, go back." His synthetic voice trembles as he insists, "We can't leave him," followed by a fragmented, "It's but the lens." The air crackles with tension as the massive lens Mark zeroes in on Rex Splode, seizing him by the throat with a sneer. "That was a futile gesture, Rex. I'm going to pop your head off, and then fly off to murder all three of them. What do you hope to accomplish against me? You are out of batons and golf balls, and whatever you keep in your pockets. Your wrist launcher is spent. You have got nothing, no way of attacking me." His grip tightens as he continues, "So tell me, how are you going to kill me? What are you going to charge and explode with?" Rex, defiant to the last, rasps, "My skeleton." A deafening boom erupts, a blinding explosion that consumes both Rex and the lens Mark in a sacrificial blaze, Rex giving his life to save his friends. Robot, overwhelmed, cries out, "No." But the damage is done, the echoes of the blast reverberating through the shattered landscape. In the aftermath, Pitt and other superheroes lie strewn across the battlefield, their bodies broken and bloodied, teetering on the brink of death, crimson pooling beneath them in a grim testament to the war's toll. At Adam Eve's bedside, Mark kneels, tears streaming down his face as he clutches her hand. Her fragile form a stark contrast to the violence outside. Cecil approaches, his voice stern as he says, "You can't be here." Mark's response is immediate, raw with emotion. "I can't leave. I need to be here for her. She needs me." Cecil counters, "We are losing this, kid. The world needs you." A plea weighted with the stakes of a crumbling planet. This marks a profound shift for Mark, who once stood against his own father for this world, always placing its needs above his own. Yet now he snaps, "I don't care. You have got every goddamn superhero on the planet working on this. You can do this without me." Cecil, exasperated, opens a portal and mutters, "Jesus, kid, let's hope you're right," before stepping through and vanishing, leaving Mark to his vigil.